Hello and welcome to Moment of Truth on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. This is the third part of my short series on why I hate Russell Brand. Again, I'm not going to concentrate on the crimes that he's been accused of committing. Today I want to talk about the absolute cult that surrounds him. This cult has been built up over a number of years, and I think that if these allegations had dropped 10 or even 20 years ago, you would still have seen a number of people blindly rushing to Brand's defence. However, in recent years, after he was roasted one too many times by other comedians for being an alleged sex pest, he decided to pivot away from the mainstream media and become a YouTuber instead. Although it should be noted that he was still happy to turn up in $100 million movies like Death on the Nile with fellow alleged sexual predator Armie Hammer. Anyway, on YouTube, he quickly identified his target audience: morons. The modern moron is a fascinating beast. In years gone by, they would have been put in their place by others in the town hall or the village pub, or thrown in a sanatorium for their own good. But nowadays, they're allowed to roam free on the internet, looking for other morons who share their idiotic beliefs. And when they find each other, the stupid intensifies exponentially. Why might Brand have done this? And why did his output veer increasingly to the right? Peddling deep state persecution narratives beloved at the heart of thinking? Why would he court alt-right Nazis, anti-vaxxers, Brexiters, Putin cheerleaders, 5G truthers, young earth creationists, climate change skeptics, flat earthers, people who think Trump won the 2020 election, the homeopaths, ufologists, homeschoolers, morons? Not just any old morons, though. These are 20th century morons, the finest and most powerful generation of morons the world has ever known. Breathtakingly arrogant, the aggression of a honey badger mixed with the brains of an aubergine. Brand probably saw how untouchable that other former left-wing sex pest Donald Trump became by surrounding himself with a shield made of the densest matter in the universe. Millions of bloody fools. Brand probably also looked at some of the most notorious cults in history: the Manson family, the Branch Davidians, the Jonestown Project, the leaders of which used faux spirituality and conspiracy theories as a way to get people to check in what little brains they were born with at the door. Brand no doubt put two and two together. I mean, he's known this was coming for a long time. Funny how his move away from edgy comedy and his little foray into politics happened around the time of the Me Too movement, but I'm sure that's just a coincidence. And now he has hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of obedient little saps ready to drink the Kool-Aid, ready to storm the Capitol, ready to defend Brand with their lives, with a gusto they wouldn't afford their own children under similar circumstances. Having a small country worth of chumps at your back is incredibly convenient when you've just been dropped by your agents, sued by your publisher, and demonetized by YouTube. There was a great turn of phrase used by Charlie Brooker to describe Tories. He said that they had been born with an essential part of their soul missing. And you know what? I can't help but feel that might be true for the poor bastards who fall for charismatic charlatans like Brand. There's clearly some form of void in their lives that can only be filled with an intense devotion to a particular celebrity or politician, guru, whatever. I mean, when it comes to these people being trapped in this tractor beam of love, affection, devotion, it's easier to get them off heroin. And they feel like any criticism, no matter how mild, no matter how fair, no matter how balanced that criticism is, they see it against the person they love. They see it as a personal slight against themselves. So if you call Brand a sexual predator, you're effectively calling them a sexual predator, which I'll come on to in a moment, but that's why you see the level of fury, anger, upset, and vitriol that's been poured out by his army of defenders. Did I mention that these people are, by and large, incredibly egotistical? I should also point out that they're notoriously thin-skinned and surprisingly vicious, considering they claim to be all into, like, I don't know, self-improvement and wellness. Here's my little wellness tip. Don't put people on pedestals, especially celebrities. They will invariably let you down. Keep an open mind, but not so open that your brains fall out. When I was a kid, I thought Rolf Harris seemed like a decent guy. I grew up with Rolf's Cartoon Club. I saw him play at Glastonbury once. Did I foresee him being outed as a nonce? No, I didn't. It came as quite a surprise, but when accusations were levelled at him that he abused children, I didn't take to social media defending him with the viciousness of a mother bear protecting her cub. I was disappointed, sure, but why the hell would I go to bat for a guy I don't know from Adam? He was subsequently found guilty. I didn't gnash my teeth or rend my clothes or release some doves for some reason. I thought, justice done. During the Brexit wars, one of my heroes was John Bercow. He was Speaker of the House of Commons, and unlike the ineffectual Lindsay Hoyle we have now, he actually managed, by and large, to keep the more wayward Brexiteer MPs in line. And I honestly believe that the reason why there was a law put in place saying that we couldn't legally leave the EU without a deal, which was the plan of the disaster capitalists of the European Research Group, 55 Tustin Street and Vladimir Putin, was largely because of the actions of Bercow. But when it emerged that Bercow had been found by an investigation to be a bully, I dropped him like a hot stone. The facts had changed, and so did my mind. See also Morrissey, Graham Linehan, and J.K. Rowling. I don't care if you're a friend, a relative, a lover even. If someone is accused of doing something horrific, something for which there is no reasonable excuse, something which I either know or strongly suspect they've done, they're gone. Out of my life. I'm not big on the whole benefit of the doubt. No paying their bail, no character reference, no fucking doves being released. My loyalty only extends so far, and here's the thing. I wouldn't expect their support if I did something for which there was no reasonable excuse. To be honest, I wouldn't want it because I wouldn't deserve it. Which takes me back to what I just said. Why the hell does anyone go to bat for a guy they don't even know? Where does this compulsion come from? The compulsion to go online and troll strangers in defense of the indefensible. Normal people don't do that. I believe it comes from one of two places. Fanatical devotion on that borders on psychopathic, like the cult mentality I've been alluding to. And there's no easy way of saying this, but some people see Brand taken to task for his disgusting behaviour, and think, there but by the grace of God go I. And by that, I mean there's an argument that it takes a nonce to defend a nonce. Or, in other circumstances, it takes an anti-Semite to defend another anti-Semite. But I think that's a topic for another video. Look, Russell Brand is rich, monstrously rich. He has more personal wealth than most of us could imagine. He is backed by Peter Thiel, owner of Rumble and one of the richest men on the planet. If these allegations are not true, he can sue. He can sue The Times and Channel 4 for libel, for slander, for defamation in the UK and the US. If the evidence presented by these investigative journalists is not true, he should sue, if only to clear his name. But I bet he won't. You see, this isn't some Mickey Mouse detective agency operating out of a bedsit in Croydon. This is The Times. This is Channel 4. They would have covered their backs 50 times over for this expose. Lawyers would have pored over every word, every letter of every word, ensuring that everything that was said was absolutely watertight, and they had the receipts to prove it. They were working on this piece of investigative journalism for years. They presented a mountain of evidence against him. And it wasn't just from the women who he is accused of assaulting, one of whom was just 16 years old at the time. They also took sworn affidavits from dozens of people who knew or had worked with Brand. He knows that he has no way of fighting this in court. The only way his incredibly lucrative gravy train to not be derailed is for him to double down. Do the old Trump method. Deny, attack, reverse, victim and offender. Darvo. Straight out of the narcissist playbook. And he knows that there are millions of inadequate men and women out there who will slavishly follow him into the jaws of hell should he command. Their minds have slipped loose from the bonds of reality, foot soldiers for the rich and the powerful, expecting nothing in return in this era of post-truth bullshittery for which Brand is now the poster boy. I hate cults. I've always hated cults. All things being equal, I'd hate Brand even if he didn't have so many devoted stands hanging on his every word. But he does. And all this, everything that's going on right now, Brexit, Trump, Brand, it's all part of a global agenda by the filthy rich and disgustingly powerful to make even more money and become even more powerful. If that means they have to gaslight the good people of this planet to death, then so be it. Fintan O'Toole put it brilliantly, writing today in the Irish Times about Brand's cult. Seeing is disbelieving. Experience is fantasy. Memory is false. Evidence is fake. Testimony is performance. The accuser must be accused. The perpetrator is the victim. It's rather fitting that Brand got his big break on television on a show called Big Brother.